Welcome to Future Hidden Movie Gems. I am Jordan. Today I got my co-host, Cameron.
You said nothing comes back, but something has. Could have
Uh,
even done Jordan the easiest quote of all. Oh man.
oh my gosh, yes. And then we got our
Scary.
special guest or alternate host, Grant.
We get out by going deeper in. Yeah, if you like. Like? No, I don't like.
Also, I
Yes.
want to preface before we say what movie we're reviewing. The plan was to originally review the Iron Claw, and we will review that as soon as possible. But my fellow co-hosts, not Jordan, did not watch the movie or didn't know that it was out in theaters. So
Yeah, I
shame
And
on
it's
was
them.
and it's not my
That's the
fault.
reason we're not reviewing that masterpiece, but we'll have to stick for Annihilation today.
yeah, Cameron might be jumping the gun about top 100. We'll see. Got to rewatch it to know.
Coming from the dude who has the entire Dawn of the Dead trilogy and is fetching top 100.
Don't even get me started about your superheroes in the top 100. All right,
Like the Dark
today,
Knight. Yeah, how dare we have that masterpiece in there?
lit I know it's not in my top 100.
Exactly. It invalidates your top 100.
This movie is awesome. I love Alex Garland so freaking much.
The movie's
Uh,
Annihilation, just in case you didn't pick that up, people.
yeah, in case you accidentally clicked on the movie thinking it was something else. This movie is so good. I love Alex Garland's work so much. Ever since he was working with Danny Boyle from 28 Days Later, and then he also wrote Beach, which I love. I don't know how well critically it did, but I don't care because it's so good. And then obviously the only one that I liked I like the first half of Men. Second half, I don't know. I like when his films like this one, like there's still a lot to be interpretive, but at least you could still enjoy it just as like a surface level, like
A movie, not a
yeah,
film.
not a yeah, like an interpretive film. So, and then what was the third one? I missed one of his films. Oh, Ex Machina.
Yeah,
Mm, that one's
Still
so
haven't
good.
seen
his
that.
debut.
We're definitely going to be reviewing that eventually. So, Cameron, what was it like watching the first time and revisiting it for the pod?
Yeah, well, just real quick, just some facts on it. It came out in 2018, directed by Alex Garland, like Jordan mentioned. Stars Natalie Portman, Jennifer, Jason Leigh, Tessa Thompson, and a couple other people. Also, our boy
And
Oscar
Poe.
Isaac. His
Yeah.
name is Oscar Isaac.
I know, I forget.
Um,
I love
but yeah,
Oscar Isaac. He's so good.
um,
It's good.
watching it for the or watching it for the first time, there was like I don't know, Alex Garland's like just cinematography and everything that he does is like very eerie.
Yeah,
And
Grant, did you take any screenshots, Grant?
like I almost couldn't like the first time watching I couldn't really put my finger on like what genre this is because I'm like it's like sci-fi, but it's like a thriller like serial killer. That was why I enjoyed it a lot. But there was so much that at the end I was like I don't understand. But I remember the first time watching it, that final scene with the mirage, the that's mimicking her. I've never seen to this day a more unsettling scene in my entire life. Like that, for watching that for the first time, I was like, what the actual fudge is that? And when it's like pressed up against her against the wall, I'm like, this is so cursed. Get this thing away from me, bro. Um, and then every time I rewatch it, I think when I watched it, I showed my two roommates, Drew and Colton, about it. And I think it was my third time watching it now. And it just
Colton, I just have to shout out, wrote the best review. He's like the best scene was when it was doing the wah, 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 and that was when she's looking inside the thing and yeah.
yeah. But I showed them and like there was it's one of those movies that almost every single time the moment you finish it you go to YouTube for explainer videos and then also like lots of discussions and theories, which I really love. Those are like some of my favorite genres of movies. I love like ambiguity,
Wait,
especially.
his favorite movie is sci-fi? You keep giving me crap for liking sci-fi.
I
Oh,
didn't say my favorite
yeah.
thing is sci-fi. You're
You
so
said my favorite
special.
thing. Yeah, I was
My
just
favorite thing is ambiguity. Oh my gosh, are you deaf or dumb? And so
Is this in
we
your top 100?
no, it's definitely top 200 for me.
Mm.
But uh this one finishes a lot better than Ex Machina. I think Ex Machina starts perfect and finishes like all right. I mean, finishes great, but not like excellent. And then for me, this starts slow and like good, but then finishes, I think, excellently.
I'm surprised you say that because I don't think it could have ended better in Ex Machina. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for Grant, but I thought it was perfect. So
Well, I know just the biggest thing for me was the suspense. Like the moment the suspense was broken, it wasn't like because the suspense up until that point, it's so eerie that's what I love. Because
Because
that's what I love.
I just thought it was like, oh no, and like
Well,
it
no,
ended.
I know. See, but that's the thing is like the moment that like that tension is snapped, it's like there's no more tension the rest of the
Yeah,
film.
but
I
then the
mean, there
movie
is obviously.
ended. There was nothing else after that.
We could talk about that at a different time.
Okay, sorry.
But yeah, I'm surprised at how well how much I enjoy this on rewatch, and it's really interesting. I've watched like so many explainer videos about like the cinematography because he shoots through a lot of things and does like perspective.
I watched
Because
that one too.
he's so good about talking, or like Alex Garland about it. You almost feel like a fly on the wall that's like scared of the protagonist,
Did you
which
see a
adds
trail?
to the
Did you see a trailer for his new movie coming out?
uh-uh.
It's called Civil War. It's like a modern day Civul War. I don't know, but I'll watch anything he does. Sorry, keep going.
He's definitely probably my number one sci-fi director. Because I'm not a big fan of sci-fi. I think it's a dumb genre.
Which is so
And
funny because you have a bunch in your top 100, and those are the same ones I have in my top 100.
because they're I know, but you see your like guilty pleasures are like B minus sci-fi movies. My guilty
No,
pleasures are B minus superhero movies.
they're only A in masterpieces.
Gosh, yeah, The Descent and all that garbage and Pandorum or
Descent is
whatever,
not sci-fi.
whatever Pandorum.
Pandorum is a sci-fi, yes. That is the
Um,
only guilty pleasure, the only one you can
that
name.
is not the only guilty pleasure, bro.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Anyway, but yeah, this is a movie that definitely gets better on rewatch, and there's like a lot more to appreciate. Drew kind of hated it when he first watched it, and he was like, I don't even understand the purpose of that." And
That sounds like
he hates
Drew.
ambiguity. It's so funny, but he's like, "Oh no, I like like ambiguous like finishes or whatever." But there's like one movie, yeah, he's ever like that's ambiguous, and it's Shutter Island, and that's like borderline not even like ambiguous, but like I'll argue the heck out of it that it is. But it's like that's more clear cut, kind of similar to The Wailing, where it's like it's definitely leading you in a direction, but it's still up for interpretation. But I love when it's like what like Enemy masterpiece because it's like what the fudge did I just watch? Like
Masterpiece.
Weird as crap, dude.
for me, movies that you have to watch an explainer video. See, a lot of people can argue that's a failed job of the director, is like that he didn't explain it to you enough in the movie. But for me, like anytime I have to go watch an explainer video, it almost always adds a point to it because I'm like, this is so crazy. Like my brain can't comprehend it. Also, I'm not the most intelligent person, so that's probably why I always have to watch explainer videos.
It's okay, I did too.
Yeah. Grant, what about you?
Well, so I watched it for the first time today, and it was
Yeah.
a good watch. It was funny because when they started out with like what I don't know, it was just like interesting that like it had this light-hearted feel to it, and then just like these intense thriller like scenes. And it was
Lighthearted.
like
What part was lighthearted?
Well,
well,
it's
like
kind of
guys,
like
intestines
the
are
deceiving.
moving.
music, and like the
The
scenery is like
visuals.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's almost
like
deceiving.
Okay,
right,
well,
exactly. So
that's I think.
it's like this facade of like this place seems inviting, and then they
Well,
have an alligator that's literally like right around the corner.
See,
It's
but
gonna
that's
eat
because
you.
death is beautiful, Grant.
Ooh.
Well, even
Well
Natalie
said.
Portman said there was like a beauty to it. She was
Oh
like,
yeah.
I wasn't sure at
No, but
times.
it does lure. It does like lure you. How do you say? Yeah, lure you to sleep. Like because it's like so pretty. You're like, oh, and then you're like, is that a crocodile with shark jaws?
I love, dude, and that image of the guy that looked like he had just like exploded on the wall, like, or he was like part human,
Mhm.
part whatever was. It's turning,
Fungus, yeah,
yeah,
insane.
that
Yeah.
messed me up.
Bro,
I
if
was just
someone
like,
cut me up and I saw that ish moving inside me, I'm taking that knife right to my throat, bro. I'm like, it's been a pleasure, guys.
Yeah. So and that's why it was such an interesting watch because like I didn't really know like it wasn't like mixed feelings. Like it was just like a very unique watch. Like
mm.
I don't know, it was something that I haven't really watched before. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite types of movies. Is just like, I love everything's like beautiful, kind of like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It just seems all beautiful, but then there's like something evil lurking on beneath the surface. Like something unsettling. Like the fact that kids are actually like dying and being picked off one by one. You're like, something wrong with this place. Like there's something
The
evil.
tunnel told you everything you needed to know.
That's what I was saying. Then you get that
They
tunnel
pull back the
scene.
curtain for real quick, and then they're like, "Oh, let's put it back over." And everyone's like, "What
Yeah,
did I just watch? Was that a
exactly.
millipede and a centipede I saw?"
I love
Uh,
that because um like you guys have already mentioned too, just I love all those scenes where I mean it seems beautiful, but then you have this like off uncomfortable feeling like why do I feel at unease about everything?
right.
Especially when you start seeing like the people or the plants looking
The
like people.
plants.
You're
Yeah.
like, why? And then yes, Cameron mentioned that ending. As soon as you see the mimic guy, like I just felt this like sixth feeling in the pit of my stomach, kind of like helpless. Like there's like nothing you can do. Like
Hmm.
she couldn't do anything, and that's terrifying.
Well, I mean, the reveal of like watching the footage of Oscar Isaac like kill himself with a phosphorus grenade. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
And then you see like Oscar Isaac like
Then he's
his
talking to the
clone
clone.
walk
Yeah.
in front. You're like,
yeah,
um,
yeah. So I think we're to believe, if I'm not mistaken, that she was like infected from the beginning. If not, because like there were so many moments like the thing could have like given her I kind of imagine this alien kind of like the thing from the movie
well,
The Thing.
let's get into two favorite things, and then I want to talk
Oh,
theory.
okay. The theories. Yeah, sorry. Okay, Cameron's
Because
hit.
otherwise, we'll be here for hours without saying
Oh,
what we like.
okay, yeah,
You go
Cam.
first.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Definitely. Oh, I'll save the visuals for Grant. But uh,
You
I
can take
love
it. It's fine.
the cast was great. I was like very impressed with all of their performances. I love Oscar Isaac. Love Natalie Portman. Oh my gosh. Ever since Leon the Professional, she's just been acting her butt off since she was a kid.
She's also great in V for Vendetta.
And then that other yeah, and that other lady too, that's an A not AP Bio, it's called Atypical. She's also in Quentin Tarantino's Hateful Eight. She was really good. Anyways, just they had a star-studded cast and they were all great.
Which one is she?
She was the one that did she tie them up? I can't remember. No, that was the
Is it the one?
cuckoo one. She
So
was
Talking about
is
the
it the
chick with cancer.
physicist?
she was the one that made it to the very end when she was like,
The
"Oh," and
physicist?
then her mouth opened up and
Oh, okay,
like her
yeah. The
brain.
Yeah,
main
she
chick.
yeah the chick with cancer.
I did not
Oh,
like
she had
her.
cancer. Oh, really? Well, her performance was great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't like her character, but I thought she did the
No,
character.
I didn't like her as an actress.
Well, I appreciate her. Yeah, oh, sorry, Graham, I'm still in it. The visuals, you can't
Go
beat
for it.
them. They're too
Yeah.
good. They're too good.
Mhm.
I just everything about it, I just like eyes glued to the screen. You know, I tried doing other things, but I'm like, I can't focus because there's just too much to see. It's very
Uh,
visually fun. And so I do like it even better on rewatch. Because the first time I remember enjoying it, but now I'm just like, do I love this movie? I think I might. This is a perfect double feature with Ex Machina. Just saying. I watched them back to back and I was like, I don't think I could have had a better time. That was a blast.
Only thing that's maybe better is Lost in Translation and Her.
That was also a perfect double feature. The third perfect double feature would be Green Room and Blue Ruin. Those are so
That,
good back to
that's a
back.
crazy double feature for me. Like
Oh yeah.
that's
Or
just too that's way too punishing for me, bro.
yeah, or anything by David Fincher double feature.
Yeah, you're insane for that. I could never watch a David Fincher's my number two director of all time, but I could never watch a movie of his back to back, bro. That's
Or
way too much.
Good Time and Uncut Gems. Amazing double feature if you want to have anxiety for 4 hours straight.
that's funny.
Grant, two favorite things?
Hmm. I really like the scene of the girl kind of losing her mind. She ties up the rest of the group,
Yeah.
and I love how she does a callback to her two theories of why people go missing in the place. They talk about either something inside of it killed the people who
Hmm.
go in, or it's the people go crazy and they kill each other. And like it's just funny. She's
She's the
like
one who
thinking
went
out
nuts.
loud. Yeah. Well, and she's like thinking out loud, like trying to like find the answer to that as she's like tied up her group, and she's like, well, that one girl was killed by a bear, so that confirms theory one. But then she's like, but then only you two like were the ones to say anything
Yeah,
about it, so we're just taking off of your word,
that
and
the
you have
fact
been
that she was
lying to us.
questioning that, I'm like, who dragged her away then?
I know,
I'm
yeah.
like, what? That's the most outrageous theory ever. She's like, well, you two were the only two that witnessed it. It's like, oh, she just dragged herself away. Like,
Well, and then to go
she's
along
like, and
with
Natalie
that,
Portman's the only one that saw her die or dead. I'm like,
I know, right?
you want to go check?
Yeah. Because then going along with that, she says, I wrote down this quote. She's like, if I let you go and you tie me to a chair and cut me open, are my insides gonna move like my fingerprints? I was
That was a
like,
good impression. Yeah.
you've gone insane. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
he lost it.
Yeah. So I think that scene, like, I really, and then the bear comes in right after that, and you hear like the bear imitating the screams of
Terrifying.
the fallen soldier. Yeah, it's so terrifying. Like that, like it's like those aspects that are so good, and I think it lands so well because of. I think that's ties into my second thing is the contrast of like the thriller moments, like are such high contrast with like the beauty around them, and kind of like it's calm when they're kind of traveling and stuff, and they like because especially when they like get to the plants that look like humans, it's like eerie, but it's like this calm feeling they give
Yeah.
you as they show it, you know? And so I feel like if it was tense the whole movie, I feel like those moments wouldn't have landed as well. So I kind of like um how the movie makes you feel throughout. It's a good roller coaster. I think that's my second favorite thing.
Yeah, that feeling is brought to the very end when she is looking inside and you're like I want to see more, but also run.
I know, right? So true. Yeah, that part was mesmerizing, dude. I could
Yes.
just like stare at it for like forever. It's so cool.
I think she could too until it turned into her. That she's like, well, I
I
made a
was like,
mistake.
and then she shoots it, and then like the bullets like
Yeah,
catch in it or whatever. That was
yeah,
really cool.
that
Yeah.
was awesome. Terrifying, but awesome.
Mhm.
Cameron, two favorite things.
I think my like the first thing that I just think is so incredible, and this kind of like the music kind of plays into like, and the score just
Mm,
plays into the fact of like, I think thrillers are really hard genre to do because I think like creating an eerie setting without like obviously the cheesy caveats, like that's what I think ICU does so well. Like everything just seems so freaky, like and like the score in that
Was that the
movie, like when
Frogger one?
yeah,
yeah. Like everything just seems like off. So it's like if you're seeing like a footage of a room, you're like, is this from a perspective of someone who's watching or like what's going on? And I think like the score along with the cinematography creates a really good tone of like, I feel like we're being watched, you know? And that's kind of the scary thing about that is the fact that there's no comms, no interaction. It's like the moment you pass through that, it's like you're being watched by things that you don't know, you know? And it's like, and and the scary thing about it too is because it's so beautiful, it almost like it catches your eye, but you can't look away. But it's like horrifying. Just like the guy on the wall. Like you're like, oh my gosh, this is horrifying. A dude got separated and became part of like the foliage, but you're like, it's beautiful. Like this is insane. Um, and and then like my second favorite thing is kind of goes into like I've already mentioned the ambiguity. I think like the theories and the different ways to interpret this film make it just that much better. Because then there's like on it adds so much rewatch value, similar to the whaling and stuff like that. Like then you're watching looking for certain things. Because I watched a couple explainer videos talking about how it's potentially like the whole movie's a metaphor for cancer and essentially like things going in to try to like because like the cancer lands in the body or like on the planet and then it starts to grow and it's like you send things in to try to kill it and then like the things oftentimes will like mutate and copy the good things but make them like a bad version and it's just like there's so many interesting things I'm like oh my gosh that's kind of crazy or even just looking at it like from different perspectives because it's like well was Natalie Portman like a clone because then when he's like he's like are you like the real and he's like I don't think so and it's just like oh what the fudge like because then it also leaves because when you see like that glimmer in her eyes it's like oh well maybe her just DNA modified or is she like the
Well,
complete
it was interesting too that like that clone had already met her before, but then he asked her again at the end of the movie. He said, "Are you Layla or whatever
well,
her name
because
was?"
she went in and then came back out.
I mean, I guess, but
So
I
he
feel
was
like
just
that.
because when she went in, she almost got cloned and almost came out as the other one. But by the end, she had already been like had whatever was in the air, whatever she had drank, just the things there slowly like change her insides and
Well, and what's so interesting too is like another thing that I was talking a little bit about was with my roommates that I really enjoyed is like also the theory is potentially that it's all like essentially a metaphor for self-destructive habits. Because if you notice, every single person that was on the mission had self-destructive habits.
beforehand.
So
Yeah.
like yeah, Natalie Portman was self-destructive in destroying her own marriage by being unfaithful. And then the one girl used to cut herself. The one girl was an addict. The other girl had cancer. So it's like every single one of them either had habits or had something in them that was destroying themselves or annihilating themselves. And so it's like self-annihilation. So every single person went into that like having had that past. And so that's why I think it's so crazy that the thing played into that factors. And it was like, and so it's so interesting because the girl who um like killed who like would cut her wrists a lot, she essentially sacrificed herself. She became one with the forest. And then Natalie Portman, who like destroyed relationships, she started losing the trust of the people inside. And then the lady who had cancer and like was essentially going on a suicide mission, like she just wanted to get to the end and saw, and then she like essentially died. And so it's just so interesting how like every single person's like self-destructive habits like played a factor into even how they died and like their role in the team. And I was like, this is insane. Well, and because like I feel like people who struggle with like addictions like that, especially with drugs, can be harmful to those around them. And look what she was harmful to her own team. And then I love it too because it's like oftentimes on certain drugs you can have hallucinations, and then she hears the voice, something that's not there. She's like, oh, she's alive, and then goes out and then is immediately killed by the bear. And so I don't know, there's just parts of that like make the movie, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much more to this that I think is like so beautiful. And I just love, I think all of the animals and the different modifications are so cool. Like it's one of those things where I'm like, I want a TV series just to see everything that's modified in here.
Yeah.
You're like, there's crocodiles with shark genes. Um, and well, that was the thing too. Drew was really struggling with. He's like, well, why is like he's like the crocodile and shark makes sense, but like, why did the bear like have the ability to like make that sound?
That
I'm like,
that
well,
actually,
sharks and crocodiles,
Was
the
that
only thing they have in common is that they're both scary and in the water. And I'm like, but that besides that, there's no reason that they should be like crossed.
no,
I
I
think
thought
the
this.
idea was that they get closer to the lighthouse and the more mutated it is. That's
Uh,
what I thought.
well, and I honestly, it kind of threw me off too when he started talking. I'm like, what the crap am I watching? First time. Now I absolutely love it. I'm like, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, oh, this is
Well,
where.
that's just the thing for me. I see for me, it's something that I always will just kind of like give benefit of the doubt because that's why for me, anytime there is science fiction, I just think it's funny. Like that's why I struggle with sci-fi is when because a lot of people in sci-fi like hate when they're like, well, that makes no sense that this would happen. I'm like, we're talking about a thing that landed from outer space. Like it's not gonna follow like the exact same rules that you would think, you know? Because it's like, oh well, why did the thing like press up against her? Like, why did the bullets like I'm like, it's an alien, bro. Like, it's not gonna follow human logic or human things that we understand, you know. But I do
Yeah.
understand the idea of trying to keep it somewhat grounded. But that's why I think this does a really good job of mixing the both.
Yeah,
I
and
thought
well,
when
oh,
oh
sorry.
sorry, real quick. I thought when she was that or that clone was like pressing up against her against the door, I thought it was like trying to like fuse with her and that's how they clone or something. But then like it just like stopped and she like almost passed out and I was like, what? I was a
Bro,
little
and
confused
then
about
she
that.
freaking wakes up and it's like laying down next to her. I'm like, nah, I'm running out of
Yeah.
there, man. The moment I see that thing laying down next to me, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie had the two most messed up scenes, which the other one was when they was feeling that guy's insides moving. I was just like, that.
Oh man, I know. And he's like cutting it open. He's like, all right, do it. I'm like, you're
yeah, and
letting him
yeah,
do this,
he's got his
bro?
hand behind it and it's moving like a snake. You're like,
Yeah. And that
oh
moment too, not only did it like really mess me up and disturb me, but I forgot what I was gonna say.
You're like, I messed up.
no, see, but that I love Jordan because that adds so much to the suspense, and that's why I think he's really good at like he's pretty good for the most part at show don't tell because like a moment like that it's like you don't need to see everything, all you need to do is see like I love how they like turn off the camera and she's like I don't need to see the rest of that. I mean, idiot for doing that, but I love like for our perspective because I'm like whoa I didn't see the rest of that clip, like all we saw was like
Well, I would have been with that.
Cut open a guy's stomach and
I
then
would have been with that girl and been like, "We're going." Because there's a similar
Yeah.
scene in that space movie we watched, Event Horizon, when the guy watches the footage and he's like, "We're leaving."
yeah, see, yeah, 100%. But see, that's the thing. It's like, well, you don't even know how you got here.
Yeah.
And it's like there's no sense of direction. And she's like, and they're like, we'll just go to the coast. And she's like, I can make my way back. The bear's not even real. I'm like, all right, have
Have
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but super fun and like a really good like thrill. And that's what I love. See, for me, reminds me a lot of Get Out. Like the reasons I love Get Out is because it's like you can show this in a group and just say this fun thriller, like a fun sci-fi thriller. But then also like you can talk about it with a group for like 5 hours afterwards, like with people's theories and like
A-
questions and confusion.
And two details really quick I wanted to mention that I absolutely loved is when they first walked in, and then all of a sudden it skips to when they had forgotten the first 4 days. They're like, 4 days of food rations gone. Like, what happened? We have no idea. They're like, do you even remember? And it's just like this jarring, like, whoa, like
Yeah.
you're
And
as
it's
jarred
never
as they are.
explained ever.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. It's
And
true.
then building up suspense beforehand, before going into it, I absolutely love when they're like, nothing has come back except your husband. That's it. And it's like they sent in tons
It's
of
like, and
different
every
things.
single organ he has is failing.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. And it's
oh,
like, and,
uplifting.
so literally all those girls were going into a suicide mission. It's so good.
Yeah,
That's all I
and
wanted to mention.
every single one of them was pretty much like, and that's why I love is because all the destructive habits and like they were
Yeah.
all like, yeah,
It's,
like
it's
I know what I'm getting myself into.
yeah,
Well,
it's such a creative storytelling. Sorry. What?
it was really funny because when I was watching it, like the first thing that came to my mind, I was like, oh, this is similar to Arrival a little bit. Like
Mm.
something lands, they set up kind of this thing to like observe it and try and figure out what it wants or what it's trying to do. And then when that group of all the girls like lined up about to go in, I was like, oh, this is female Ghostbusters. And then
I thought that the first time too. I'm like, oh no, is this another female empowerment thing?
yeah,
But it
yeah.
was actually just a really good movie.
I know, yeah. Well, and it was funny because then when they went into it, then I was like, oh, this is kind of like Predators. So I was like, female Ghostbusters meets Arrival meets Predators. Interesting.
Well, see,
And then the end of the movie, I was like, I don't even know what this is.
well, see, and that's what I think. Like for me, it's the same reason. Like my favorite like thrillers is I think they do a good job of showing like because sometimes people just want like to show like the jump scare or whatever. I think the scariest thing is something moving slowly. So I love that it's like it's not like oh it's overtaking countries by the hour. It's like oh no, it's just taking up like square foot after square like
Yes.
but it's like yeah like 2 months ago our headquarters used to be right there. It's like now we're gonna have to move our headquarters probably in a month and a half when it overtakes us. Like it's just that much scarier that it's slow because like it almost feels like there's nothing you can do to stop it. Because when it's like moving fast, you're like, okay, maybe if we do something to stop it because it's like overstretching its bounds. But this is like it's so slow and steady. There's
Yeah.
nothing like you just gotta essentially like accept what's about to happen.
Well, I love when they go in, they're like, oh, this is the earlier base camp. And I'm like, oh, that's like before it passed. Like, I
Yeah, and
almost
it's like
want
you
to,
don't know how many miles they are into it.
yeah. Like, I don't really want a sequel, but at the same time, I do. Like, I want more of this universe because I would love to see, like, it take over the whole world and just consume it all. And then I'd also like to see the prequel about the team that went in first.
Mm.
And so it's
A
like,
prequel would be really cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, them losing their minds, bro. That was insane.
I don't know. I want to watch that again, though.
Well, what was blowing my mind is when they were. I'm like, why are you guys being the watch out from fetching the bottom? I'm like, I'm being the watch out from that high tower. I'm like, if I see anything, I'm jumping head first into the ground. I'm like, it's not gonna kill me. I'm gonna kill myself before it can get me, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's
That's
what blew my
true.
mind is they're all sleeping up in that tower and they're like, we'll take turns in this down by yourself, like with mutated.
It's not even like
monsters.
caged up either. It's just like this open box.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, this is like you're like a toll
Yeah.
booth. I'm like, you're
I
a toll
know.
booth over here with like an AR-15, which half of you don't know how to operate. I'm like, or M16 or whatever it is. Dude, that was sick when the freaking crocodile and she was just
Well, and that one girl's like, she pulled out a big gun. I'm like, yes, use it. And then she's like, it's too heavy. I'm like,
Too
no.
heavy.
You're kidding me. I was really
Well,
hoping
and that's
for.
what's funny is like, I guess were they trained or something? Because she was like a paramedic before. Like, how would she know how to use that? You know?
Well, I think
Oh,
they're
yeah.
all ex-military, right?
It looked like a majority of them were ex-military. That's probably
So
why you were at the base, was you had to have like military clearance.
Mm,
yeah, it seemed
that
like
makes
it.
sense.
So
It
they
wasn't
all
just
could
like
operate again.
civilian, like, hey, want to go into the
She wants to kill
we're having
herself anyways.
tryouts.
She
Yeah,
she's basically gonna kill herself anyways. So
I know.
That's
Like, oh, you're in the military? Perfect. We can kill you off really easy. Like, okay. Get in there. Sure, you'll
Eh,
come back just fine.
something interesting actually in the game Terraria. There's a liquid called Shimmer, and apparently
oh
this
really?
movie was I think I don't know if it's like official, but they like theorize that this could possibly be like an inspiration for the liquid. And I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I love that name. That's a great name.
Yeah, the Shimmer.
That's sick.
I recommend it to people that can handle disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few scenes that I was like, that
Is it
was kind
R?
of
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. You forget the part where he cuts the guy open, he's holding his intestines?
Is that I guess that automatically qualifies as R? Because
Yes.
it's pretty tame except for two scenes. Two scenes is like
Yeah,
when
two scenes that'll automatically make it hard.
dude, yeah, that
R.
bear when it like rips out her jaw, I was like, oh, this bear's not messing around. And see, I also thought that was interesting that he went for the throat and the jaw and how he can repeat sounds. That was I was also curious. I'm like, I wonder if he like rips out people's vocal
Interesting.
cords and can make those sounds, like the last sounds uttered in those vocal cords.
Mm.
Because I was like, this is insane. But yeah, definitely do recommend. And then we real quick,
What
do
have
we
you
want to get
seen?
into what we've
Yeah.
seen?
Hit us up, Cameron. I know you got a list of a million movies.
I have not because I have never been more swamped at school in my life.
Who are you?
And so I've only watched four. Uh,
That's a lot for
and
some
I've
people.
watched more than you. Wow.
yeah.
Hit us up.
So I watched Killing Them Softly per Jordan's request. It was pretty fun. I like fun cinematography
It's a
and
great B
characters.
movie. It's just
Yeah,
fun.
it reminds me a lot. It's like Guy Ritchie-esque. And then I really like Brad Pitt's monologue at the end. And it's kind of interesting, like the whole America background, like with politics and stuff like that. I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
For me, it was like a 7 out of 10. And then I watched Banshees of Inisherin.
Out of four of his movies now, where would you rank all of them? You
I'm
got,
not a super big. I'll preface. I'm not a super big Martin McDonagh fan.
but I still want to
I
hear
I think
ranking.
his writing is excellent. I'm not the biggest fan of his movies.
I'm assuming
So
In
probably
Bruges is
number
probably
two.
number
Yeah, I think In
one,
Bruges is number one for me, and then this one, and
and then
then
Three
Seven
Billboards.
Psychopaths. Oh, Three Billboards is one. Easy. I forgot that's Martin. That one destroys everything else. Three
Yeah.
Billboards is in my top 100, and then it goes In
Oh,
Bruges, and then maybe this or Seven Psychopaths. I don't know. They're both like.
I only have one of his movies in my top 100 too. I mean, I think he's one of the best writers of all time, but
But like, I mean, the cinematography and writing is amazing, and like, there's fun humor and characters. But
it
like, it blew my mind how simple life was back in the day. I'm like, you wake up, take care of your farm animals, and then you go to the pub for lunch, and then you go home, and then you go back to the pub for like late night.
maybe
I'm
that
like,
guy. I think the other people have work.
well, I mean, but like, he clearly made enough to live, so it's like,
Maybe.
I'm sure,
That's
not like.
hilarious.
But I don't know, I was kind of surprised. It ended like bleak and depressing with like very little character growth that I felt like. And
Yeah,
so like it was, if anything, it was like borderline character digression. And so I was like, and so I just felt like the message was like, it's better to like the
it,
question of like, is it better to be loved horizontally is kind of what I talked about, of like being loved by those who are alive with you currently, or to be loved vertically, like by generations, and kind of like people seeking that fame. I don't know. But 7 out of 10. I like amazing performances, but extremely depressing. I was like, is this Martin's view on the world?
no, it's my well, he says he's constantly battling like spending time with family and friends versus making movies and masterpieces and leaving them behind.
uh,
Yeah.
Makes me appreciate it more.
Because it's like, yeah, you only have one life, you know? So what are you
Yeah,
going to do with it?
true. And then I watched Boys in the Boat. I thought it was really fun. Did you see it, Jordan?
No, I just don't want to see it. It looks boring.
It's literally like it's so similar. It's just like Woo America. Like it's literally like Remember the Titans, but like it's just a bunch of guys rowing, and then like we're rowing to beat the Nazis. So it's like hurrah, and like I don't know. It's just like it was fun. The theater experience was fun, and there's like some pretty fun suspense, and the cinematography was pretty cool. There's a couple cheesy lines, and it ends almost like Saving Private Ryan, where it's like the old man at the end. I'm like, I don't know how I love this ending much. Like remembering talking to a little kid.
I saw that in the trailer for Maestro or whatever it's called with Bradley Cooper. He was
Mm-hmm.
old too, and he was like giving advice, and I was like, all right, a little
Yeah.
what's the word when you're full of yourself?
Yeah. Self-centered. But
That seems
Uh,
like more than four. Just saying.
but yeah, so like the boys in the boat, like Colton was kind of disappointed because for some reason he went in with high expectations. I went in expecting it to be uh like n not good film at all, but like hurrah America, and that was exactly what it was, and really enjoyed it. So for me, it was 8 out of 10. Like it's just the typical. It's very similar. It reminds me of the Jesse Owens one, Race. It's funny because they even give a shout out because it's the same Olympics that Jesse Owens went to. So essentially just like showing his life and like, oh, this guy, it's just really cool because like rowing is such a rich person sport, and then like the main character in the movie, it like is homeless, and he joins the rowing team to get housing and a job. Like, and then him and his team of like
Wow.
7 guys all did the exact same thing. All of them, well, not all of them were homeless, but all of them were like, I'm doing this for the job. And then they end up being like one of the best, and they end up like going to the Olympics. It's so cool because like they're going competing against all these like rich kids, and it's like all these kids who have like holes in their shoes and just like beating a bunch of these rich kids because they're like, and one of the announcers said it really cool. He's like, it's a matter of, he's like, kids who want to versus the kids who have to. And that's what it is. These kids are like, I have to row so I can have a bed to sleep. And, and the other people are like trying to win a competition. But yeah, it was fun. I mean, nothing spectacular. But I enjoyed it. And then I watched Anyone But You. I went in with the lowest expectations because Sydney Sweeney is a borderline horrific actress. She's just, let's say,
Who?
not the best actress. Um, but I do love Glenn Powell, and I thought he did a really good job in Top Gun, Maverick. And so I was kind of going in with like, okay, this is gonna be garbage because it got 53 by critics and then 85 by audiences. Bro, I was crying multiple times in the theater, laughing so hard. I
Oh,
don't know. I just had the giggles. And honestly, every single time she delivered a line horrendously, like because of her bad acting, it almost added to it and it just made me laugh and enjoy it that much more. Like it's probably top 15 rom-coms ever, probably top 10 rom-coms ever for me. And whether it was like um because it was funny, I was talking to Colton, I'm like, well, I'm like, they're actually pretty self-aware. I'm like, whether it was intentional or unintentional, I'm like the cheese. I'm like, I thought it was super fun. Um and
What
like
movie was this?
it's called Anyone But You. It's essentially like these this guy and this girl are like best friend, like well, so they kind of like have a fling, and then it ends really poorly. um and then he's best friends with a girl, and then with this girl ends up marrying the girl that he like had a thing with sister. And then so it's like about the whole wedding thing, and they're like, okay, we need to like pretend that we're together because everyone's like super mad at them. Like, you're ruining the wedding from being mad at each other. So they're like, oh, we'll be pretend to be together. Anyway, it's really funny. Um, I was cackling. A lot of people were falling asleep and like not enjoying it. I was dying, bro. It had some of the like some hilarious jokes, but I mean, for me, it's like a 9 out of 10 movie, but probably like a 3 out of 10 film. So overall enjoyment, turn off my brain. It was so fun. Also, it's like the right level of delusional romance that I like, that I'm like, oh, this is like very reasonable. But I thought it was really fun. Um and then I'm just looking forward to, I want to see Godzilla -1 next week. Um
Let me know how it is.
I've heard really good things about Wonka.
it's cute.
I don't know. Maybe I'll go see it next week. Maybe I'll wait a couple weeks because because me and Colton were gonna do, we like doing double features, so we were thinking about doing a double feature next week of Wonka and Mean Girls, but that's a little too punishing for me. Double musical, yeesh. I can barely do one, so I'm
Mean
like,
Girls is a musical?
apparently
Hmm.
the new one. I'm like, and it doesn't have Rachel McAdams. I'm like, um, look to the source material, but yeah, Grant.
Grant. Hit us up. Tell us,
All
Green.
right.
What have you been watching?
So a while ago, I watched Big Hero 6 because I hadn't seen that in a long time. That was a fun rewatch. School of Rock. I was laughing a lot, dude. That's such a good movie.
So funny, dude.
And it's like crazy because I think it was like the first PG-13 movie I ever saw, I think. And so it was a fun rewatch. Well, it was funny because like I think Elise was like, "Yeah, I've seen like, you know, as I'm browsing, I've seen this movie." She's like, "I don't really like rock music, so I don't know if I would enjoy it." But like we were just trying to find something to watch and she was
Rock
like,
music.
well, yeah, she doesn't like rock music.
Well, I just think it's funny that
Um,
you're not gonna watch School of Rock because you don't like rock music. It's not like it's like Bohemian Rhapsody. It's Jack Black like jamming out every like once every 45 minutes.
I know, yeah, it's really funny. And then we started Wheel of Time, and I was actually really enjoying it, but it's like overly violent for no reason. It's pretty funny.
Jordan's like,
Um,
you piqued my interest.
I know you picked.
no, seriously, it's a good watch. Like we were watching it, and then Elise thought it was too violent, so we're not watching it anymore, unfortunately. Um, and
You
then
can make your own decisions too, Grant.
You had my
I'm
attention,
not gonna
but
waste
now
my own time. I'm gonna play video games, bro.
you had my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
You
And
have the
then
least bit of my.
and then we watched Theory of Everything. That was pretty interesting. It was kind of like, I don't know. It wasn't
Is that the one
great,
about
but
Einstein or who's it about?
No,
it's
the guy in
about
the
Stephen
wheelchair.
Hawking. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
The only reason
Like
I bought that is
The guy who went
because
to the Epstein Island.
oh jeez, he did actually.
He used to make.
The-
Apparently, he used to make do math. That was his king.
Okay, the only reason I bought it is because Johan Johansson, or is it Johan, whatever, he made the music of the movie and he won an Oscar. So I was like, well, I guess I need to check it out
oh,
because
yeah.
I
I mean
love his
it's
music.
kind of like a flat social network kind of
Mm.
movie.
Social
Like
network, but talk like that.
well, it's really interesting because he gets a disease, the Lou Gehrig's disease in college. And then you see it progress in him.
So it's a beautiful
And
mind.
well, the part that I don't like about the movie, I mean, it's based off of real life, so I get it, but like the wife like decides to stay with him knowing that this disease is going to progress, but she's told by the doctors that he'll only live for 2 years. And he
Mm.
lived to the age of 76 or something like that. And so they end up kind of separating and being mutual friends after like 8 or 10 years or something like that. So it's kind of this like she sticks with him for a while until it gets too hard, and then she like goes off to be with this guy that helped them out.
That
He's
actor
not in a
was
wheelchair, so
Well, no, but he like literally tells her like to kind of like go live her life essentially.
mm.
So it's kind of this weird like I
so
don't really know how
it's
I feel
anyone.
about it.
It's Me Before You meets A Beautiful Mind.
Or 50-50. Remember the
I
girl that
love
I
50-50.
love 50-50. She leaves him after he gets cancer. It's so
Yeah.
bad.
That's so bad.
It's so
It's
bad.
so
Oh
funny.
man.
Uh
And then 2 nights ago I watched Revenge of the Pink Panther. An actual good old Pink Panther
yeah,
movie. Because the first one is garbage, but
it
this
is
one was
bad.
really fun. Yeah. It's so funny, dude, how racist he is. He's just like they go to Hong Kong and he's like, oh man. She's like, they're gonna recognize you right away. He's like, no. He's like, you'll be fine. Just think. And then like every time he refers
Cannot
to
be made today.
Kato, he's like, yeah, his dummy brain can't comprehend it or whatever. It's so funny, dude.
That's
I
great.
Oh,
love the old Pink Panthers. It's so good. And then last thing is I've been watching a new anime. I started it before, but I finally finished the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen. It's
good.
really, really good. And then
I started it. I couldn't get into it, but it gets better, huh?
oh way, way, way better.
Okay.
Because like the first few episodes, I was like, oh, this is kind of
Have you seen
interesting. Like,
Cyberpunk, Grant?
okay.
Cyberpunk 2099?
No, I do want to watch that though.
Cyberpunk. You should check it out.
Okay, yeah.
It's extremely
Because
it's
depressing.
depressing but good.
Okay. But yeah, so Jujutsu Kaisen is all about like curses and these jujutsu sorcerers who like use cursed weapons and cursed like techniques to fight curses. And it's like, yeah, the first few episodes, it's like it's pretty good. I didn't get super into it, and that's why I stopped. But then,
Yeah, I couldn't either.
yeah, Lisa's brothers were like, "No, you have to keep watching it. Like, it's so good, and it gets crazy good. Like,
Okay,
it's super super fun.
I'll stick it out then.
Is it like what's the One Piece anime, dude? I talked to Jake about it and he was like, yeah,
Mhm.
apparently because Jake hasn't watched it, but he's like, apparently people say you have to watch the first 9 seasons to get into it. I was like,
Yeah,
9
dude, and they're
seasons?
still going, I think, and
Yeah,
it's
it's like, I
like
think it's got
yeah, it's
over
like the
1,000
longest running one.
episodes.
Yeah,
I'm like
Not a
any
I
I'm
know,
like
I don't,
'cause,
I don't
like
ever want
normally
to
like
start
Parks and
that.
Rec, I'm like, oh, you just got to get through like the first couple episodes, or like
Uh,
the first season's not the best. I'm like getting through nine, and like yeah, people are like, oh yeah, the first 9 seasons are kind of like filler setup. I'm like, what?
So many people say that about Parks and Rec, but I think the first season is some of its best content. I don't know why people don't like that first season.
Watching it immediately after finishing The Office and never had seeing it, I was like, Leslie's just a more annoying, worse Michael.
Yeah, but there's
And
so
I
much
couldn't
more
get
to
over
love
her.
it.
I couldn't
Oh,
get over her. And I also to this day, I might get some flack for this, but I don't like Tommy.
is that the girl, the guy that originally was, uh, maybe possibly the love interest?
No, 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 no. It's the
Oh,
Indian, Aziz Ansari.
yes, yes, yes.
uh,
I just don't
you don't
find
like
his humor.
Tommy, really?
I don't find his humor
Tom
funny. It
Haverford.
always makes me uncomfortable. He's like always borderline like assault humor. I'm like, this makes me uncomfortable all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
And he's like the type. He's the my least favorite type of confident. The people who are verbally confident or like outwardly confident but inwardly insecure. I'm like, it just makes me uncomfortable because he's like, yeah, I can do it.
Tommy went blanky. Yeah, he
Yeah,
says.
exactly. That type of stuff.
When they go to his house and he has like more girl stuff than they do.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, real
Um,
quick though, Jordan, because I remember like was one of the big reasons you didn't like Demon Slayer was like the side characters and how they were kind of annoying.
no, 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 no. It was because it started to turn into like it went too far anime. Like I like it when it's grounded, but as soon as they start
Then you
like,
probably won't like Jujutsu Kaisen because
oh,
like
dang it.
some of the well the action scenes are phenomenal. Like
I
and that's
just
what I think it excels
it's
in
just
that.
it's just when there's like too many characters that act like oh yeah, like I can't do it. And then when they're starting to defy the laws of gravity and running and flying and stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah,
it's just
that's all of Jujutsu Kaisen.
oh
Like they
no,
have like this technique where they do
I
I can't think of what it's called. It's like a domain or something.
I
And then like it's like this world that they
Grant, the
create around
virginity is
them.
coming back into your body right now.
Dude, it's so good, dude.
I can do just a little bit when I love like, Ellen Light when they're battling it out and all of a sudden that moment is like, oh, and then his eyes shake. Like I
How
love
did
that.
he know this?
Like how, yeah, but it's
Well,
like
but you like a Chainsaw Man. I mean, that's the same thing. Like it's Chainsaw Man
that
fighting
that one's
the
got my
demons.
favorite subjects though, which is like, lots of violence and just him being shallow. It just reminds me of a slasher flick. You just got to
That's
get
fair, I
those
guess.
girls.
Man, you guys
I,
suck. You're missing out.
Okay, wait, really quick. I only have two that I wanted to mention because the rest I saw not great. The Attorney, which I want to review at some point, and then Society in the Snow or something like that. Did you hear about this one, Cameron?
yeah,
Are
I
you gonna
saw your
watch it?
review.
If you watch it, Cameron, let me know if you think we should review it
Okay.
because I'm very curious. If you're like, I don't want to talk about this, then I get it.
It looks like Arctic except more depressing.
Yes, way more. I haven't cried more in another movie besides maybe Schindler's List, but.
Not even Iron Claw.
Well, that one's just the ending. This one is like every 2 seconds. It's like, who's next that we got to eat?
Oh my
That's the most depressing. And Cameron, there's like one moment of happiness, only one moment they're singing, and then an avalanche comes. Oh, I think I spoiled that part. Sorry. Anyways, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. So watch it. And I loved it, but cried. I had to watch it over the course of 2 days because I was crying so hard. And I was like, I'm feel exhausted. And I was like, this hurts.
Or was just emotionally
It's just
drained.
2 hours of sadness and just like, and like, I'm gonna die. And somebody dies and they're like, oh, now we can eat. It's just and then The Attorney, amazing. It's like what's going on, and it's got our boy Bong Joon-ho, not Bong Joon-ho, the actor in Parasite. He's so good. And then it's got the cop from Memoir of a Murderer. He's so good. And it's just they're these attorneys, and it's about the corruption going on and
Yeah,
the
I want to rewatch Parasite because I haven't seen it since I got back from Brazil. It's been almost 4 years now since I've watched it.
I'm curious if you'll keep it in your
Because
top 100.
I think I've watched almost everything twice in my top 100.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.